I'm just peeking. Give me just a minute. Hang on. How does this work? Ah, okay. So I was seeing it that I was kind of peeking over the corner. I am working on getting the capture set up. Give me 1 second, gang. Days, planets. There we go. Good morning, all. How's it going? Happy blue moon. I don't know. What do we think? Like right here? Got everything like full screened, and I know some people work like that, but I do not. Ah. Oh, the browser audio. Get some tunes going. You almost forgot to like? Well, you can rectify that right now, Lils, if you have not already. One second, we're still smoothing it out. I got done with all of my notes like 30 minutes early. I was like, cool, I can relax. And then I looked up and it was 11, so that's not what I want you to see. Here we go. Oh, we struggling today. Hang on. There we go. We got this. We got this. Me? I got this. You're doing your Vedic certification? I cannot wait until you get good at it, and then you can do my chart, and we can do a chart trade. I mean, Lilith, your name is literally Lilith, so, like, there's multiple reasons for a witch hunt against you. Okay. How's it going? What's up? How's life? How's tricks? Happy blue moon. It was bright and early this morning, but we'll still be feeling it for a few, another, like, 24 hours or so. So you haven't missed anything. What if I send a swarm of bees to collectively? Well, that would be a lot of likes, and I'd appreciate it. While you're at it, could you get those bees to follow? I'd appreciate that too. Too far over to the side. I'm not as good at this as May is yet, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Alright, we got our coffee, we got our good morning, or good afternoon, or, well, those who don't drink coffee, you got a beverage? Everybody got a beverage of their choice? Perhaps a snack? We ready? Ready to talk about things? May's asthma's been doing better, so I finally got to light up some incense again. Ready to roll. Got our notes. I got a little robot dog helping me out. What's going on? Oh, did I do something wrong? Where does it go? Okay, if it goes there, then it goes there. I don't know. What did I do to it?
Made it little.
Oh, I made it little? Yay! Well, I wanted to be able to see the full wheel. Good morning, Ozzy. I am inept, apparently.
No, I'm
Huh?
Oh, you've done this to the window.
What did I do to the window?
It's not full screen, so it's not full screen here.
Well, that's okay.
Sure?
Well, I can't full screen the picture.
Yeah?
No.
Why not?
This way. I mean, like, I can full screen the window.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
Is that what you wanted me to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So why wasn't it full screen?
Because I don't like working on things on screen.
Okay. Do you got a reason for that?
I can see more things if I don't have one thing on full screen. Here we have ADHD going up against autism again. A classic display. Why don't you like things on full screen? Because I can't focus on multiple things if one thing is taking up my whole screen. Streams are just radio shows if you think about it. You're right. It's alright. Good morning. Glad to have you here awake early for once, Ozzy. I hope it's not too early. but we're glad to have you. The Battle of the Centuries. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And now I've got this window on full screen. It's gonna run me crazy, but we'll get through it. It's okay. I'm fine. Everything will be fine. Not worried about it. Oh, good. Let's get going. So, overnight, technically last night, but we still have plenty of leverage room for it because it's only at, and we're still at a full opposition here, baby. Well, not exact like it was at, I think, almost 6 this morning, my time. But we're still feeling it. Still got time to leverage the full moon. I'd give it tonight. Maybe into tomorrow if you need to. Maybe not tomorrow night, but like, yeah, today into tomorrow. You should be good. This was our blue moon that everybody had been talking about on our Discord. I posted up some reference material a couple of days ago to help everybody get time to prepare. Overall, a pretty happy little blue moon. A little bit chaotic, but we'll talk about that a little bit. I told y'all I would save that for today. So let's get going. It's okay, Dolly. You still got time. You still got, it peaked like 4 hours ago, so just don't even worry about it. So, you got time. All is well. You've got like 24 hours on either side of the full moon to be able to do something. I think that's just, the planets know you have a schedule. The planets know you have things to do. Yeah, Ozzy, that would do it. Painting all night, or painting last night, the house would absolutely put you to sleep. Ooh, green walls. Take pictures if it's any good and you are willing to share. Send it to the Discord. I would love to see home renovation projects. What are we looking into, Willybug? Okay. So today is the full moon. You still have time, so don't worry about it. This was our blue moon in Sagittarius. It peaked early this morning at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, squaring exactly, like down to the minute, my sun. So I still don't know what that means yet. I know that I didn't sleep for beans last night, but you know, other than that, right? It is affecting the mutable signs the most, so we have our mutable signs here. If it's in Sagittarius, we go across. That's Gemini. And then squaring off, we have the Pisces and Virgo axes. It's affecting those, especially those within, because it was at 9 degrees, and this first we call them decans. If every 10 degrees is a decan. If you think about that, deca, right? 10. So we have this first decan. It peaked at 9, so anything within these first, especially like, I'd say maybe we'll make it a little bit different. We'll say like 5 to 15 degrees of Sagittarius or in anything of these mutable signs. If you have anything in those 5 to 10 degree windows, it would have been hitting you pretty strongly. My example, for example, right? My example was it hit my sun very, very hard. So we mutables were feeling this the most. Sagittarius's ruler is also Cancer, so anything that is Cancer dominant in your chart would have been feeling it, as well as, Sagittarius's ruler is Jupiter, who is in Cancer. That is what I meant to say. So your Cancer part of the chart, your birth chart might have been feeling it, as well as things in your birth chart that are Jupiter dominant. How would you know if it hit you? It's gonna be different for everybody, Willie. Like, we'll talk about the side effects that we're gonna be feeling, so we can compare and contrast, right? So, for example, right, I don't know if it was the full moon. I don't know if it was just the way that things are. Hey, Light, welcome in. We're talking about this week's astrology. You are right on time. But I didn't sleep for anything last night. Like, I kept tossing and turning, and I could not sleep to save my life. So, maybe something like that. Maybe something happened, right? So we can see right now that this moon is making some aspects, right? So Sagittarius and Gemini are kind of your tricksters of the chart, as it were. We're very intellectual types. Gemini focuses on the little details. Sagittarius likes to focus on the big picture. This opposition is forcing you to stop looking at the smaller details and focus on the big picture. And there's some other aspects that it's making that are like helping and or affecting. Shaky hands be a side effect. I could see that, but also check your blood sugar levels. So we had the moon trining Saturn right here. It is good for establishing the foundation for a new habit, or as we will talk about, like taking steps forward. It will be good for helping you set up a practical plan for this. Let's see. It is going to be trining Neptune. Where is Neptune? Neptune is here. Yep, so there's a lighter trine here, but we can see that it's going to, especially as it at the onstart, the beginning, it was trining Neptune, so a few hours ago. Good for big dreams and connecting your intuition with your emotions. We have him making a sextile to Pluto, helping Saturn and setting up those foundations. And then he was opposite at the very beginning. She was opposite Uranus, who is the chaotic, the one that spins on his side and likes to turn tables and just create just general shenanigans. Everybody's worried about Uranus. Everybody's worried about Saturn. I will tell you that Uranus does not. He is the table flipper, but he does not flip tables without first giving you breadcrumbs. At least not by and large. So if you see it, you get clues, and then something happens big pertaining to that clue. There was your hint. You had your breadcrumbs, right? So, ooh, this jazz just going. Let me turn it down a peg, just a tiny hair. We just jazzing it up, which is great, but I need to be able to hold a thought. Okay, so what did this do? And we also had him. This good old moon was squaring off with the nodes for a while, right? So that is connected with where you are leaving and where you are going. So, there was a lot of unpredictability with this one, kind of chaotic, but hopefully by and large in a good way, and we'll still, like I said, be feeling it for another like 24 hours or so. The trine Saturn and sextile to Pluto was good for logic, structure, and a sturdy foundation. The opposite of Uranus at the trine to Neptune was good for a big old dose of optimism and delulu, for lack of a better word. The squaring to the nodes would speak to your life path. This could be karmic, right? You might have been feeling recently that you're kind of about to break out of some cycle that you've been working on getting through, right? So if you have been working on something, you just feel like you're stuck in a rut and repeating things over and over again, that could have been, this square could have helped you kind of break through some of that. My IC and my MC are in Pisces and Virgo, so I have been feeling this node transit for the last 18 months, like I'm about to break out of some cycle. So when things like specifically light this up, if you're not feeling it quite the same way that I am, would be how it shows for you. No lack of Delulu. Sure, yeah, you can add it to a quote book. It was a good dose of Delulu, a good no lack of it. You're feeling it right now. Add it to any quote book that you see fit. Please feel free. So it was hitting a lot. It's doing a lot. There's a lot of heavy lifting going on. There's a lot of aspects being made. You're going to kind of do a bit of an assessment of things and be really tempted to drop what you consider boring and dull, want to pursue something exciting and new. This is good. Be careful, though. Do not send that text message to your ex. Do not go gambling, right? There's some, exercise your common sense. You might be, because Sag is Jupiter ruled, you might be feeling a little bit lucky. Don't push it. Let's see. But if it's something that you've been thinking about, or if you've been called to or if you have like a call that you've been really considering, now's a good time to like really kind of start taking some steps towards it, or really sit and listen to it instead of just telling yourself to follow a more realistic path. For example, right, like if I have big aspirational dreams of doing astrology for a business, right, or seeking a career in something that most people are like, that's unrealistic, and I settled myself into working into an office, you will have your comfortable office job, but you will still have that calling, right? And so this full moon was really like trying to draw attention to that calling. Another warning that I got from one of my astrologers was that all of these little things that are happening all at once, we've got so many little aspects being made, right, between Saturn and Pluto and Neptune and Uranus. People might be feeling a little bit testy, right? So, like, if somebody, that their emotions might get a bit of the better of them. So, be aware. Folks might be a little bit impatient, a little bit snappy. It's a lot of energy all at once. Now that I think about it, I was irritable last night for quite a while. But be patient with other people. Be patient with yourself. Give each other a little bit of grace. Hopefully the snap will lead to something better. Right now, there's a whole lot of alignment of saying, like, if you lose your cool, it might be for a greater purpose, right? Or if you lose your cool, you might say something that you've been needing to say for a while. Now, just a heads up, but be sure to give each other a little extra grace. Give yourself some grace. Basically the objective, though, of this full moon is to, like, with everything going on in Gemini likes to collect information. Sagittarius likes to act on knowledge and wisdom and stuff. Gemini gets stuck in decision paralysis, and Sag says, let's do it. Right? So basically what this full moon is saying is like, hey, you've got 50 tabs open of this one thing that you've been studying for years. It's time to close those tabs and act on what you've actually learned, right? You know this by now. You know it's time to go. It's a call to, like, trust that we have most of the info, at least, that we need, and also have the wisdom to, like, know how to act on that knowledge. We can also be releasing something, since full moons are about release, something that we've been clinging to that keeps us small, so we can follow wherever Sagittarius's arrow is pointing for us. It can be pertinent to, what do I say? Like the Sagittarius portion of your chart, the Jupiter portion of your chart, or just some kind of calling that you've had for a while. Like, you're trying to see, if you take out all of the external influence, where that arrow is pointing you towards, right? Common sense with the Delulu. You got this. You got this stuff. Just work on it. I know sometimes things are contradictory. Some aspects are going to affect others more than others. But, like, have the idea and then step back and go, okay, is this reasonable? You can do it. I believe in you, Steph. What are we bro dangin', Willie? I've lost track. And hello, Doji. One astrologer that I like suggested using the energy of this full moon to kind of let, like, Sagittarius's proverbial arrows fly past you, right, and see what lands, so that you can actually focus on yourself and what you need to do. He had a challenge because we are, like, surrounded by information. A lot of us are having issues with this information overload. We have too much input. We can't figure out what we really want for ourselves, right? Because we're getting so much outside influence telling us what we want and what we shouldn't want. He suggested that people not make any sudden decisions, not make any announcements, not start anything huge for the 24 hours around the moon. And just, like, tune out and then, like, tune into your own body. So, like, don't doom scroll, don't go reading too much of the news. Like, keep informed if you have to be, but don't get locked in, right? Don't get, like, just surrounded by all the noise. That way you can better hear yourself and figure out where, again, Sagittarius's arrow is pointing for you. So, I'm here right now, so I'm obviously, like, breaking the rules of this challenge a little bit, but in my defense, we already had this stream planned. But by the quiet truth, he meant, like, the one thing that you really know. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, he wanted folks to just kind of, like, think about the quiet part of themselves that they might have been ignoring by removing out all of that outside noise, and I liked that idea. Another, like, practice that I saw was to take 2 sheets of paper. You write your loud truth, which is the truth that you might be forcing and get really defensive about, and also simultaneously be exhausted by. And the quiet truth, the one that you really know is the truth and that you're just kind of trying really hard to ignore it. And just kind of sit and look at them for a while and make a decision about what you want to do with them. And then like you can write one thing that you can let go of, pertinent to that loud truth, so that you can actually pursue that quiet truth a little easier. Right, you have to figure out how advice works for you, Willie. Like, I can give you advice all day long, but if you don't tailor it to your unique situation, there's not much I'm gonna be able to do. I know what to do now, work even harder. Yeah, a little bit. It's less work even harder. The work even harder is... The gag would be that Tiana is not listening to what the full moon is saying. What the full moon would be saying is that she has that prince, and she keeps going, I need to keep working so that I can do it myself. Right, that's the one that she's going to be... That's the truth that she's going to get defensive of. It's the truth that's exhausting her. Right? So that... The I know what to do, work even harder is the shadow side of this one. Of like, I don't want to listen to what actually I need to be doing. I'm going to keep doing what I want to do or not what I want to do. I'm going to keep doing what I am doing because it is the safe option, right? When I know that there is something else that I'm being called to. So, let's see. Loud truth, quiet truth. Ultimately, Sagittarius is kind of like Aries in that he likes forward momentum. You have the Ram in Aries and you have the Archer in Sagittarius, right? So they both like to go. They both like to start something. So once you have that quiet truth, once you know what you need to be doing, it might be advisable to like write out a plan because of that trine to Saturn, or at least try to make one tiny positive step in the right direction for it, just to kind of get a ball rolling, right? With all of the aspects, and with the fact that it is a full moon, it can be chaotic. But hopefully it's a fun chaos, and even if it's not, the air should clear up pretty quickly. And hopefully you should be able to get something out of this process. Alright, any questions about the full moon before we keep going? I'm gonna be right back in like 5 seconds. Y'all write out your questions. I'll be right back. Okay. My jack on. So, happy full moon. That peaked early this morning. We can do that. We can play with it again for another day or so. Channel in some of that energy. Any questions? Shall we continue? I also wanted to point out around this time, this one isn't going to be as reported on by others. Let me see where I can find it. They don't have any extra options? Okay. Yeah, I'll highlight it right here. We have Chiron sextiling Mercury. It's not going to show up on this chart quite because I don't have it set up to do so. But we have Chiron here. Oh wait, no he is. Yeah, sextiling Mercury. And this is going to be taking your wounds related to the Aries portion of your chart that Chiron has been dealing with for the last several years and turning them into wisdom, especially now with the, and I'll get right there with you, Willybug, so hold tight, but especially with the fact that he's in the anaretic degree, so he's trying to tie things up. Now is the time to like integrate all of the lessons that you've been learning since Chiron has been in Aries and use them, turn them into wisdom with this Mercury trine. You can help others, you can give advice, or you could get really good advice from someone. It's a good voice to those conversations also that you have been avoiding. For like how uncomfortable they are, if they make your throat tight, just those awkward things that you don't want to deal with, so you've been putting it off. It's a good window for a couple of days to deal with that. And some of this, right, could be tying in with this full moon business of everything is chaos, is I need to say this now. The full moon is going to be, so generally speaking, Willie, the full moon peaks at a certain time when it's absolutely at 100%. So a full moon is when, in the chart, the moon is directly opposite the sun. So that happened, I want to say, I think it was at like 4 in the morning on the East Coast in the United States. So it peaked then, but on the window around it, I want to say probably for like 12, 16 hours on one side and probably 12, 16 hours on the other side. There's still plenty of energy to be working with. The moon does not stop being quite large right now, just because it is not exact, so you have time. Usually when I'm dealing with anything with the full moon, I'll give myself the 24 hours before and the 24 hours after is like my workable window. Mileage may vary. That usually has worked for me historically. Now, anything else? I'm gonna go ahead and skip to June the 1st. But I'm still here for questions. You can still see that we are feeling this little sextile right here, even as Mercury steps into Cancer. That is our big thing for the 1st. I will say your summary for June is that things are pretty calm, stable, happy. We have a really lucky conjunction coming up on the 9th that I am extremely excited for. But this is kind of a bit of a calm before things start to speed back up in July. So take advantage of the opportunities that you get, accrue the resources that are made available to you, and start kind of getting ready. One person said that we want to gather our resources for the next 3 weeks and then work on the rest of June to like integrate, reflect, and prepare for in the last week before things again start to pick up again in July. I say that. I will also say do not panic. We are here to be prepared and not worried. Okay, so we go down to the 1st. We have our good boy Mercury going into Cancer. He will be going retrograde while he is in Cancer, but not until later. I don't think he goes retrograde. He goes retrograde on June 29th. He will go into his pre-shadow period. We will talk about that, but he goes into his pre-shadow period not this week, but next week. But while he is in Cancer, he is just a sappy little boy. Mercury Cancer switches from Gemini's drive for quantity on information research into a quality. Regarding information and research, he likes to gather and use the information that he uses, that actually he gets, instead of just having 50 tabs on one topic open. And when he is doing so, he will speak, think, and use that information more deeply and more instinctively. It will be like less, oh, I read one paragraph on one, reputable Wikipedia article that said that this. It will be, I actually studied this for a few hours and this is the opinion that I have, or like I've studied this for a while and this is the conclusion that I have come to, right? There will be, since Cancer rules hearth, home, family, emotions kind of area of your life, right? Cancer can symbolize the mother figure. There will be less focus on the collective than there was in Gemini and the other air signs that like to keep everybody happy. This will be kind of a me and mine kind of transit. Since Cancer rules the heart and home, we might be feeling, though, in general, like this is not necessarily a bad thing. In general, we might be feeling a little more empathetic. We might be feeling a little more emotional than usual, for good and for bad. You might be more protective of your loved ones, right? Again, heart, house, and home. If someone starts going after you, Mercury is going to want to step in. If they start, like, bothering, your sibling that you love very much or your best friend or something, right? If they're going to step in and be like, stop that, please. Right? For protective. Watch out for mood swings at work, because Cancer is still a water sign, so she still has her feelings. But generally, like this placement, Mercury feels collaborative, open, in touch with his feelings, Like you're working together to get the job done, and it might not be done as efficiently as it had been in Gemini or would be in Aquarius, but it's still a pretty collaborative feeling, just in general. With your loved ones, this is generally a good period to connect, to express your feelings. If you have anything you need to talk about, anything you need to say, you can reminisce over your past memories together, things of that nature. Now, I will warn you, objectivity in a water sign is hard. Cancer is no exception to this. Your memory will be more detailed. You will be receptive to and interested in other folks' mood, not just the bare bones fact. But you might struggle with confidence, like your own self-confidence, and with creating new ideas to tackle problems. And you might not like ideas that to you feel heartless. So heads up there, if someone is acting a little bit cold, that could really, really rub you the wrong way during this window. But generally speaking, you should stay fairly good-humored. It's a very content. I wouldn't say like cheerful, happy, but it's like a content. It's a warm kind of placement. And your words can reflect that. Like if anybody does poetry or anything, the connection to that emotion should be really good right now, especially with Venus and Jupiter in here. If anyone writes poetry, I want to see it. That is Monday. We look over to Tuesday. Tuesday again, no problem. We've got this little, sextile here. So you'll notice, for those who aren't quite as far along in their astrology studies as I am, these thinner lines are still aspects being made, but they're not exact, or they're not like super duper like heavy impact either yet, or the time has already, like the prime time has already passed. When the line gets thicker on AstroSeek, that means that the connection is stronger. So you can see all of these lines. You've noticed that I'm kind of ignoring them right now. That's because the ones that we're talking about mostly are these really thick lines right here. Now, on the 2nd, this is going to kind of counteract a little bit some of that warmth that we've got from Mercury going on for a couple of days, but I'm hoping that, like maybe it'll help strike a balance with both of them. We have Saturn. Well, no, not necessarily counteracting. He's sextiling the sun, so that's a good aspect. It's navigable. It's not a square or an opposition, so this one should be good. It's good. It's a good 2 to 3 day window. It's good for getting your ideas matched up with a drive, a persistence to it. It's good for concentration, organization, and being reliable for others because your words are matching your actions during this window. If there's a project that you've got to work on, if you realize that there's something that you need to do from the full moon today, now's a good time to do it. There was something that happened a while ago with the sun that was like good for being responsive to, or having authority figures being responsive to you, like, parents or your boss or, people that, tell you what to do, for lack of a better word. There was a good window for it being them being receptive to you a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what the aspect was, but this is another one of those aspects. You've got Saturn feeding into the sun. The powers that be will be more receptive to you. They might be more open to hearing you out. They might be more willing to support you because they recognize right now with this alignment that you're putting the work in. So if you've been struggling in general, or if the Sagittarius full moon was less revolutionary and just kind of chaotic, right? Now can be a good time to collect those thoughts around it. Now can be a good time to set up a plan, start taking a positive action towards whatever it is that you've been needing to take care of. This alignment is very good for practical progression towards goals and integration of those goals. Okay? So that is Tuesday. It will be Wednesday, my dudes. Ignore the moon. The moon moves really fast. If anything, you'll have a bit of a conflict between your feelings towards, money, abundance, wealth, relationships, but this is just a few windows. So if you feel a spike on Wednesday at around 3 p.m. UK time, it's just the moon. This too shall pass. She's a quick little girl. She will be out of this opposition pretty soon. Alright, so let's see what we have. We have this, we're still feeling this trine, we're still having, good progression on our projects. We're still able to put our thoughts into action, we're still making plans. But we get this square to Mercury between Neptune and Mercury, so Neptune is putting some pressure on Mercury right here. And this is a little more of that delulu, but maybe not for the best. So this is a 2 to 3 day window. There's a good chance for, if you're not careful with your words, if you're not, double checking your work, there can be a risk of miscommunication and hurt feelings. If you send a text message without double checking it real quick, it might come off the wrong way. Or you could say something that you think at first blush, it sounds fine, but the other person hears the opposite of what you meant, right? And then, feelings get hurt and you have to take care of all of that. Overall, you might, when we get past that window for a little bit of delusion and miscommunication, if you exercise it well, you might be able to pick up on others' feelings, and your intuition in picking up what someone else is putting down might be up. But just be careful to use discernment, because there is that miscommunication risk, and you might have a hard time seeing the actual facts about a situation. So, there's room for both intuition, but also mental haziness. Don't overthink it. Don't get stuck in a spiral. Don't concentrate on it. Don't fixate. Don't hyperfixate to the point of it being an issue. But if you get something, and you're I'm going to reply, hold on. Go ahead and reply, yes, but double check your work, make sure you're saying what you actually want to say, and not something that can be really easily misconstrued. Now, a lot of people might be like, oh no, this sounds awful, but we still live in a society, so functioning is still unfortunately a requirement. We cannot quite go hide in a hole for 3 days in a row. So let's look at the positives, right? So there can be an element of extra imagery, some poetry, some extra feelings that you can add to any pitches you might have to add at work or with those aforementioned authority figures that you can be working with. It can be good for motivating people into action, but double check the facts before saying anything, your dates, your budget, it'll cost this much. Well, am I sure it will cost this much? Let me run the numbers one more time to make sure that they match, or at least close enough, right? Yeah, so it's good for passion, not necessarily good for crossing T's, dotting I's. You might have to use a little extra double checking to catch that without it spiraling into insecurity. I read a warning for, if it seems too good to be true, make it a point to ask one more clarifying question. Make sure that you're getting the full picture, because if something sounds perfect, maybe. I mean, we're coming up on this really pretty conjunction that I'm looking very forward to. It might be too good to be true, but make sure. Double check. Sen, you will not fail it. I believe in you. As with most things Neptunian, this little anything, even if it's a square, it's very good for your creativity. There's a good opportunity for poetic, heavy imagery, types of artistry. If you write poetry, if you need to write a story with emotions or something like that, if you want to paint a picture with just full of feeling, this is a really good time to do that too. Okay. There was nothing major going on the 4th. I know. Again, this is the moon doing her thing. She was already in Capricorn, now she's already in Aquarius. Don't worry about this too much. It'll be a few hours. You might be feeling a little tense. This too shall pass. We are still feeling the trine has worn off. It's gotten thin. We're still feeling this square, but nothing new has changed. Hey, story. On the 5th, there was nothing major. We've got a long streak of nothing major. So again, the moon moves quick. We've got this little sextile happening with Saturn, so your emotions, you can make a good plan here. You can be feeling pretty rational, seeing things as they actually are. We have, she is squaring off with Mars. How would that show up? You're seeing things for how they actually are. Mind your temper a little bit when you're having this epiphany. It might make you a little bit mad. Again, this too shall pass. The 6th, we don't have anything super noteworthy. We have this. I'm so excited for this one, guys. Oh my god. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's fine. So we have nothing happening. We will be starting to feel this conjunction if we haven't already been. It will keep happening. They will keep getting closer. Again, nothing. This is really great. Honestly, like, this is a great time to go out of town. I was putting these notes together. I'm like, nothing is happening, so I don't have to worry about any of my people. I can just go. Great. Okay, we are at the 8th. We are still at nothing super major. Now we have this couple hour window of a square between Lilith and the moon. So Lilith is the rebel. It is everybody calls it the dark feminine. I don't really ascribe to that so much. Like, she has some elements of the taboo to her, but I also just see her less dark, more unconventional, right? So the unconventional feminine, if you know the story, right? She was the first wife of Adam. She didn't want to submit, and so she was forced out of the garden. That is just a strong-willed tomboy, if you ask me, less dark, right? So, just the unconventional feminine, having a bit of a square with the moon, just for a few hours. Your emotions you might have a little bit of a rebellious streak. Okay. For just a few hours. So don't panic. Alright, now we have Lilith opposing the sun. I have noticed this. This is the conjunction that I'm excited for. Okay. We have a sextile here between Uranus and Neptune. And then the moon is conjuncting Neptune. Very good for big shakeups in your feelings, right? Big, but in a positive way. We have the sun opposing Lilith. This is putting some hidden aspects of yourself into spotlight, related to Sagittarian themes. Sagittarius is about long journeys. He's about philosophy. He's about higher wisdom. Gemini is about information collecting and a knowledge of things. This is the application of that knowledge, right? At least, this opposition will be at least on an individual level. You don't have to announce anything. You might not even feel anything huge if it's not making any particular aspects to your chart. But just, there might be a part of yourself that you realize that you need to sit with and kind of accept, right? Just something about yourself. This is more of empowerment than anything, even though at first, when you first have this thought of oh, I guess I do like this, it might feel a little bit squirmy at first. So, now, we have this opposition, we have a little bit of emotions. This, plus this, to me, feels like you will have this epiphany about yourself. It might not be anything you have to make a big deal about. It might be for better or for worse, but it might shake up a little bit of your internal, but it won't be the end of the world, right? It will be fine, and you will be able to recognize it as such. Now, everybody, yes, this kind of sucks. But everybody, I need you so badly to mark your calendar for the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. Because this conjunction is one of the luckiest conjunctions that we can have. This is Venus and Jupiter. These are your two benefics. They love to expand, they love to grow, they love to give you abundance in anything and everything, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But this right here, ooh-wee, I'm so ready. So it's been creeping up since Venus came into Jupiter a week or two ago, a few weeks ago. Yeah, she's in the sign for 6 weeks. I don't know, I don't want to do math. It was a while ago, but she's been in here for a minute. But ever since Venus came into Jupiter, we've been kind of feeling this, but this is when it goes exact. It's happy, it's expansive, it's an abundant, it's a lucky streak. It's for everybody. I would absolutely, in this one, it falls right on top of when the Pride Festival is happening for you, Ozzy. That sounds great, honestly. Talk to people, go have fun, go live a little. I will warn you, set a budget. There might be a lot of things that you're interested in, so know how much you're going to spend before you walk in. That is one of the pitfalls with this alignment. We will talk about that in a moment. But it is happy, expansive, abundant, lucky. Meet people, gain things, all sorts of stuff. I would absolutely, like I was saying, work on setting some intentions or manifestation in this window. Doing something, do anything, like work towards it, write it down, do a ritual, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter, but especially if it relates to anything Cancer or in like the Cancer portion of your chart, do it. It is, someone called it, one of my astrologers called it a warm hug from the universe. You might not feel it huge, but it should feel good. This should at least feel good. There should be an up in positivity, those warm emotions, some sentimentality, because of course there's sentimentality because she's in Cancer. It's a good time to connect with loved ones. It's a good time to meet new people. It's a good time to be willing to open up about feelings. So, for example, I know a couple of y'all have crushes on people. If you need to fuss up, this is when you would do it. And then it's perfect. So this is when you would do it. This is one of the luckiest things this year. Just in general, like just do it. Just do it. It's a green light from the universe. It's that Shia LaBeouf behind the green screen. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. It's good for being extra collaborative at work. The job gets done. Everybody's happy about it. There's positive developments around things. And it is also extremely good for creativity. Now, one thing that somebody pointed out when I was doing my research on this is that Jupiter likes to do more at the end of a sign. So if you look back to, I think it was August 11th last year was the last time this happened. If you look back to August 11th, things should have been going good. But he was at like 11 degrees of Jupiter or something, and that's not far enough yet. So it should have been warm, it should have been nice, maybe a couple of good things happened. But Jupiter tends to get a little more explosive the further down he goes on this chart, right? So we're at 25 out of 30 degrees. This could be something big. So hopefully, if there's something you need to work on, now's your chance, right? Like, no time like the present. This is a beautiful alignment for something. The warning, like I was telling Ozzy over on Twitch, was set a budget before you go looking to buy something, or before you go to an event where you know there will be things you will be interested in purchasing. These two are indulgent to a fault, especially Jupiter. So there is a lot of room to treat yourself, and you should, but don't break the bank when you're doing so, right? So like, take a hot bath, go to the spa if you can afford it, go buy yourself a nice thing if you want to. But, like, if you go in to buy, I don't know, if you need to buy, like, a new car, don't walk out with, like, a Lamborghini, right? Like, if you can't afford a Lamborghini, don't buy it. Even though you might be tempted. Jupiter is in Cancer story right now. So he is down here in dear old Cancer. And that, yes, if you are wondering, should be activating that interception in your chart. You will be going into Leo early July. So, I will say it again, everybody. Mark your calendar for a few days around June 9th, especially June 9th itself, though. This is good. Let's look at the 10th. We're still feeling this opposition. That's not the end of the world. But it's there. Now we have Mercury squaring Saturn. And for a while, the moon will be conjunct on top of it. This is a good 2-3 day transit. It's not quite so delightful as this one, as our good Venus-Jupiter is. But it's there. I'm hoping this will help mitigate. We still have good luck. We're still feeling it. There's Lambos. That's fine. If someone else wants to buy me a Lamborghini, I won't say no. I'm not an idiot, but I can't afford one my own, you know? Anyway, so Mercury square Saturn. It's a square. It has goods. It has bads. No transit is inherently negative. I will stand by that. It can have its difficulties if you're not aware of them, but that's why we prepare. This can be good for putting your foot down, saying no to something you know that isn't good enough for you. It can be good to renegotiate your terms. It can be good to read the fine print make a protest and actually see some change. This is not, yeah, words are landing heavier, so be careful with what you say. People will examine them more closely, right? This is a window, though, that is better for the fine print than big idea brainstorming, right? So, like, this isn't a throw spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks. This is I have this problem with this thing that I know about already, so let's dig into that and actually solve it. Now, with that, and you might get frustrated, but there might be some pushback. You want to be clear about your needs. Make sure, cross your T's, dot your I's, right? Make sure that you're communicating what you need very clearly. And take care. Lean more into a more slow and methodical energy. Don't start second guessing. This can cause, like, one of the shadowy sides of this kind of a transit is you can start second guessing everything. Don't do that. We're just going slow and steady. We're turning into turtles, winning the race, right? We want to critique words. We want to critique, but not be a critic, right? So someone might come up to you and tell you, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And your first gut is to say, that's stupid. No, don't say that's stupid. What we say, right, we use our words. We say, I see what you've done. Perhaps it would be, this is a good start, but perhaps it would be better to do it this way. Right? Something like that. And I want to point out again, too, that Chiron is at the last degree. So he might be getting a little bit spicy, too. This is your wounds. This is the wounded healer. But remember, whatever these wounds are dealing with in this Aries portion of your chart, these are the wound. He is the wounded healer. This is where you are vulnerable, but this is also where you are a master, right? Because Chiron, yes, he was wounded. He could not heal. He had to do all of this, but he was also the tutor, the private tutor of Achilles, right? Like, he knew so much, right? So you leverage that mastery and you work on getting your resolution from that, right? Us as turtles, absolutely. For this little window on June 10th, again, we're still feeling this conjunction. It's still plenty lucky, right? So I would see this square less as everybody's going to be nitpicking everybody else and more as, okay, cool, we have all of this abundance. Now let's figure out what we're going to do about it, right? How we're going to manage it, right? So if you just have blind luck at everything, like, you're not going to be able to focus. This might be like, yes, it could be second guessing. Yes, it could be nitpicking. Yes, it could be someone being a little bit mean. But if we leverage it right, I think it could be used to, like, harness this conjunction a little bit better, right? Things for this as a shadow might feel a little bit colder, a little more logical. Cancer, I wanted to note, might be feeling a little rejection sensitivity dysphoria, right? Like, if Saturn gets too cold, Cancer might be like, or Mercury and Cancer might be like, ouch, my feelings, right? Saturn's logic is hard, though. Like, it's not necessarily supposed to be coming from a place of cruelty. It just might be a little insensitive. But while Mercury's feelings might get hurt, right, Saturn also might get frustrated with how emotional that Mercury Cancer is. Might be frustrated that Cancer wants to feel all of the feelings before working through something. So, instead of getting testy and argumentative or cold and quiet and retreating, right? You have, those are your two shadow sides that you have. You could be, a hothead and argumentative and nitpicky, or you could get cold and just quit, right? The best way to deal with this, like I said, is to be a turtle. We're slowing down, we're taking it one step at a time, we're being specific, and we're making sure all of our details are in order. And I think this can help leverage some of this good fortune. Like I said just then, I have in my notes, this could be just giving the above conjunction, so Jupiter and Venus, a little more structure. Or it could feel like a lot of, like, super important conversations or, like, roadblocks that are actually purposeful, right? Like, you actually need to sit there and think about things in order to progress, right? You have to slow down before you can keep going. So, just a heads up. Choose your words. You will be fine. This one, I have noticed a while ago. This one we will be feeling for a long time to varying degrees. It is technically coming up. This is a thick line, so we'll be feeling it strongly, but it is not exact yet. They are still a degree apart. But Pluto is in retrograde, so as we keep going, this will keep getting tighter. Neptune is going forward a little bit more until I believe the 7th of July. So these two will be in a sextile for a while. And along with this little conjunction here, I'm okay with this one, the sextile. We're not gonna be feeling it at its peak yet, but I wanted to let you know since the line has gotten thicker. I did all of this right up earlier, so let me like refresh my memory. This goes exact on July 24th, so we've got a while. But with as thick as this line is, with the way that both of these planets are moving, I expect we'll be feeling it for off and on from now until, I don't know, August sometime maybe, just because these two are slowpokes. But it gives magical girl sequence, right? So we're gonna be doing our pretty transformation scene. You start off as just someone and go through this extremely elaborate costume change, and you look so much different than you did when you started, but you're still recognizably yourself at the end, right? It's showing a deeper part of you, but it's without all of the baggage and the upset that comes with change. Like, this one is just no strings attached, good change, right? This is no strings attached personal development. It's good for intuition. It's good for finding a creative or spiritual endeavor that will last. Neptune is good for creativity. It's also good for spirituality, things of that ilk. This is I wrote a no fuss overhaul, and I love it for that. It might address something that used to trigger you. It could be dropping some masks that you wear and just allowing yourself to have the deeper and more authentic conversations. Or maybe you'll just realize that a recurring anxiety that you have dealt with for years just doesn't have the same hold over you that it once did. So your dreams might have meaning, clarity may come randomly, but with as long as this transit is, it's less one singular event and more things that just kind of build up gradually and completely kind of like reorganize your priorities, possibly from the inside out. Blood type, yes. It is the perfect timing for that. Yeah, that, yep, absolutely. In Aquarius, where you have everything in Aquarius, yep, That's this. Get ready for your magical day sequence, blood type. Magical person. I cannot wait to see your costume at the end. So. Somebody called it, or one statement that I liked from an astrologer was, quote, hidden gifts that you downplayed in the past start asking for real space in your life. So, it's that thing earlier with the full moon today of like, I have these truths, I have the quiet truth and I have the loud truth I defend. I'm trying to like gas myself into believing it, but actually it's not really necessarily the truth, or it is a truth, but it is a truth and not my truth, right? It's helping you see that for what it is so that you can focus on that quiet truth of the thing that you actually want to do. Like, for me, it's I want to write a book, I want to do art, I like to learn about astrology, I want to keep learning about astrology. To me, like, a year ago, even just a year ago, that would be insane. I'd be like, why on earth am I doing this? Because I have to have a life, like I have to have a career. I have to, like I have to work, I have to feed people, I have to take care of things. I can't do that. Right. And here I am trying. So, this will kind of like bring light to any of that you might have been feeling already. We are almost done for the 2-week window. We have Friday the 12th. We don't really have, again, we're still feeling this a little bit, but not too much. The moon's going to be making a little sextile, conjunct Mars to Mercury for a little while. That's energy, emotions with your words. It's giving fuel to your flame, right? Draw a picture. Let me know how it goes. We have Chiron here, squaring off a little bit with Venus. We have that peak the next day. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But I did want to note for Friday, yes, we have this. Yes, we have these. These aren't super duper major, right? We have Pluto, or the moon will keep going. She always does. The moon be doing things. I think that was one of our earliest quotes here in my astrology chats. The moon does things, and I can't be bothered to keep up with every single thing that she does, because she changes signs like every other day, basically. So she's quick. And so we'll just focus on the main things that she does, and assume that mood swings are just part of the deal. But I did want to note for this day, even though, yeah, we're going to be talking about Chiron and Venus for the next day, but Mercury here is going to start hitting his pre-retrograde shadow period. That's a lot of fancy words. But, oops. Things fall down. It's okay, we're back. Are you here? Can you hear me? I didn't move anything, I promise. The little ring light fell down. But that's okay. No stream without a scuff. We're all good. Anyway. Pre-retrograde shadow period. So what this means is that Mercury is about to go retrograde later in June. And what he is doing right now is going through the degrees in which he will retrograde back into. So this is like the path that he is about to backtrack on will start on Friday the 12th. Now, he does not go into retrograde until June 29th. And that is when he will backtrack into this path that he is just crossing. And then he will get to this part again, and then he will go direct, and he will start working forward again. That is the post-retrograde shadow. So it's just, when I say shadow period, it is either the pre-retrograde shadow, which is the path that you're about to retrace. We have the retrograde, which is actually the retracing. And the post-retrograde is walking through it again, one more time. So this is the preparation, the execution of that reflection and such, and then the integration. Mercury retrograde is not the end of the world. It happens 3 times a year, and here we are, we're doing fine. We had one earlier this year in Pisces. We're having it at the second one in Cancer, and then the third one will be in Scorpio later this year. So, just a heads up. The 13th. Uranus is saying hello a little bit to Uranus the moon, saying hello to Venus here, over in Leo now. We have this little square happening. Before she goes into Leo, we will feel the square the strongest. So I will talk about that first. Venus will square Chiron before she steps into Leo, because he's at 29 degrees and some odd minutes, right? So if we're at here, she's at 0, so that exact will have happened earlier. But she will... Yeah, so before she steps into Leo, Venus square Chiron. So an old wound might resurface before things get better. Usually for Venus, so it's Venusian topic, so we've got love, abundance, etc., right? Love, wealth, creature comforts, the things that just make life sweet. Yeah, there is a lot. Blood type, we will talk about that momentarily. Let's see, where was I? What was I saying? Old wound might resurface before things get better. It feels like but this one, because she's stepping out of Cancer right into Leo, this is funny to me, like if I picture it in my head, because I can see it so clearly. We're going, ouch, my feelings are hurt, right? Oh no, I'm sad about something. And then we step into Leo and we're fine. So, let's see. Yeah. So it feels like something makes you sad, something that has made you sad historically, right? Like you're like, oh, you know, this thing happened to me 6 years ago and I'm still sad about it. You know, you have this thought about it that's Venusian themed. And then she steps into Leo and it's like a light bulb flicks on. And you're like, that was crazy and dumb and I don't want to dwell on that anymore, so I'm moving on. Right? Don't diminish your feelings while you're feeling them, right? It might not clear up immediately, but this is how I'm seeing it, right? And like be willing to find an outlet if you need to, you know, pertaining to this hurt, like a journal or do some art or find a pillow that you can scream into, whatever you need to do. But know that this too shall pass, and I expect that it will pass pretty quickly. It's a chance to deal with a relationship or like those have and have not sensitivities, just to like learn to love yourself a little better. And Venus and Leo, this girl love herself. Okay, so we have she will be in Leo from the 13th of June to the 9th of July. We have pride, passion, and pampering. get the 3 Ps going. Venus in Leo is the romance stage of a relationship permanently. And, quote, we feed on attention, acknowledgement, validation, and adoration. This is more room for joy, more room for affection, at least until things kind of start getting weird in July. Like I said, this is like the month of like preparing and integrating before things start getting strange again. And fast. Don't oversell yourself while she's in here. But this is a good window in general for like making a move on somebody or doing something if you need to, if you haven't yet already with that conjunction. Which, why would you wait? But like, here's you another opportunity, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, a good window in general for making a move on someone or something if you need to, especially when Jupiter steps in to join her later in the month. You will be more open to creative ideas, more open to fun, more willing to be spontaneous and doting on loved ones. It's a good boost of that creativity in this window, a good flow of ideas. Be careful not to be too much of a diva. Don't lean into the extravagance that you might be feeling called to experience to the point of your detriment. Leo, though, is the spotlight of the zodiac. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun illuminates, so I like to look at Leo as a bit of the spotlight. With Venus in the spotlight, you're going to, just want to indulge and have a good time. And that's good, but all things in moderation, right? Or as Hawkeye put it in MASH, my favorite is all things in moderation, especially moderation. But Leo's the diva, so take care with that. What would it mean if you have your natal Venus in Leo with this transit? Oh, that's just cute. They just go into conjunction and it's an emphasis. Like, I would see it as you might have a spike in just your general Venusian themes for a while, Luna. Like, you might, if you're not in a relationship, you might just flirt with somebody and have a good time. You might, go do something, fun and unexpected, go on an adventure. You could do, just be open and have a good time and enjoy yourself. Like, yeah, Venus conjunct Venus, like that's beautiful. I don't see any problem with it. Have fun. That's what it would mean, is go have fun. That's how I would see it. So, any significance that all of the Mercury retrogrades are in water signs this year? Blood type asked. Also, hello, Pearl. It's good to see you. Any significance that... Yeah, we have a big focus on learning to manage emotions and stuff. You've noticed so far this year has been fairly volatile as far as, like, external news sources and such, right? Like, it's been hard to manage, and so Mercury retrograde is, like, helping us incorporate those feelings that we need to be feeling, right? So with Pisces, it was like letting go of things. With Cancer, it's like protecting you and yours. With Scorpio, oh god, Scorpio's gonna be... It's gonna be later, and I'm not trying to scare anyone, but Venus goes retrograde in Scorpio, and Mercury goes retrograde in Scorpio, and I'm pretty sure it's at the same time. I could be misremembering, but that might be a little bit of an introspective mess. Just a heads up. Just a heads up. But yeah, so these are our 2 weeks. That is kind of what I'm seeing with the retrogrades of Mercury all being in water signs. It's just a chance to like really get your emotional core in check, especially with all of these outer planets now having moved into fire and air signs. We're about to have Jupiter go into Leo, right? Like it's a way to keep ourselves tethered, basically, right? Because we have a lot of go energy, and we will for the next at least 2 years while Saturn's in Aries, right? Like, he's not going into Taurus for a while. And then all of the outer planets are in fire or air signs, I think, for the next 7 years. So with Mercury going retrograde, that's just a way to like, hey, things are happening right now. How are you feeling? Right? Like talking about that kind of a thing. When is what? The Venus retrograde? I don't know off the top of my head. I know it's sometime in November. Sorry, I'm looking at it. Venus turns retrograde from October 3rd to November 13th. And then retrograde is okay. So Venus will go retrograde then. What did I say? Shit, I don't remember. October 3rd to 25th is Venus retrograde. Mercury retrograde is October 24th to I don't see when, but it would be sometime in November. So Venus is going to come out of retrograde, and then Mercury is immediately going to step into retrograde, and both are going to be in Scorpio. During Scorpio season, no less. So, we'll do it. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, though. Don't panic. Be prepared. Don't panic. Get your emotions and your affairs in check. Everything will be fine. Because I said so. So those are our next 2 weeks. Let me see what we have here. Let me see if I can do scenes. Arrow webcam. Howdy, gang. Here I am. Let's see what I can make this big now. Am I very large? I look very large. Okay. I'm in danger. That's kind of how I feel about it, but it'll be fine. Because I said so. It's fine. So we have our good old-fashioned, our dice that we've been playing with. We can do our, I guess this will be for the next 2 weeks. We'll do this week first. Let's see. 1, 1, 2, 4. Okay. Let's follow. We'll see what happens. 1, 1, 1. Alright, we've got 4 of a kind for this week. That feels pretty good. This is for you. This is for you, son. And everybody else who wants to ask, right? We've got 4 of a kind. Not bad, not bad. If I don't roll a Yahtzee for next week, I'm gonna be mad. Okay, we could do a straight. You know what? I don't even care what the dice say. I refuse to believe that the week after this one is bad. I simply refuse. And like, it's not even that bad. It's just like I'm missing the 3. But I simply refuse to believe that things aren't just gonna fall into place. My delusions will carry me. It's fine. I also brought, because, Dolly Dearest asked this. Let me see if I can remember how to turn. It was the channel? Follow channels, haunted doll. Different. We're in a different one right now. We are. I'll call it art. We're not really doing art, but it's fine. I'm not doing astrology anymore, and I don't want to leave it that way. Everything is fine except for one thing, and it's just something you're missing. It's not even like a tragedy. You're just like, well, you were summoned, Dolly. I brought a book. We were gonna do some more divination if you wanted to. More bibliomancy. Because you were asking about it. I do not care about my delusions will carry. Love will carry me. Love will make everything better. It's Venus. It's love. I will be fine. Everything is fine. Anyway, I brought the book. We can do the bibliomancy if you want to do some more of that. I didn't bring the books that I was using before, but it is still by the same author. I'm going to actually, let me see. Can I do this? I wonder. Is there a divination category? I don't even know. We're gonna do it. I'm putting it in. We're good. It's fine. Oh my god, yay. So, for those of you who weren't here last time, a couple of weeks ago, I brought 3 of my favorite books, or no, 3 books from my favorite series in. I did not bring that this time. I brought 1 book, but it is by the same author with the same kind of vibe. So, ask me your questions. It should be suitably cryptic. And I think it will be a lot of fun. Don't forget to like the video. Holler at your boy with the tip if you got a couple of dollars to spare. Miss May is open for commissions through the Ko-fi link for readings. I can do birth chart readings. I am a little bit slow at them. You wouldn't get it for like a week, but you can absolutely buy one. What else do I need to say? I think tomorrow is our last tarot stream for a while. We're going on vacation from the 4th to the 8th, and I know everybody's like, but the 3rd would be an option. We need to pack, we need to do our laundry, we need to see people. We have another friend going out of town for a few weeks, so we'd like to see her before we go. So, the one thing missing is our plastic bloodstream already. Yep, there we go. So, ask me a question. I am not particular about the topic, but feel free, ask away. It should go pretty quick. There's a small enough group. I'm not too worried about it. If you have multiple questions, have fun. I'm here to have fun. That's it. So, ask away. And if it gets too quiet, that's fine. I have my sketch pad. I didn't bring my painting to work on, but I have a pencil, and we can have some fun that way too. Up to you. Lynn's birth chart readings are very formative. Thank you, Dolly. That's really sweet. Fix the camera. I refuse. What's wrong with the camera? Is it over here? What's wrong with the camera? May, what's wrong with the camera? I don't even know what I did with the mouse. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Haha. What's wrong with the camera? It all looks fine to me. Oh, Lord, she coming. Oh, Lord, she coming. While she's coming, write your questions down. What's wrong with the camera? Uh-huh. Leg. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. My long, long kitty leg. It's fine. Okay. Camera's fixed, love. Struggling to come up with a question? Oh no. Oh no! Maybe I wanted people to see my pants. They're some of my favorite pants. Oh well. Y'all come up with a question. I got a good old book. I'm ready. Ask how my week will go this upcoming week. Yeah, sure. No problem. Let's see. I like these because I like his books because they're always interactive. This one is one of his least interactive books that I've had so far, and it's still got things that I can flip. Okay, here you go, Luna. My preconceived view of perfection couldn't accommodate her, and while I stared again at the beauty of the face that struck... And while I stared again at the beauty of that face struck by lightning, my tightly held sense of order and composition crumpled in on itself. So, your week sounds like you're gonna get struck by, like, proverbial lightning about how something is so pretty. Or someone, who knows? That's a really good... That's fun, though. How about what questions should we be asking ourselves? While I was stretching, I thought about Raphael's game and how it really was his way of talking to me. I had to try harder at it. Think harder about what questions you should be asking. What do you need to know this week? What do you need to know this week? The climb into the mountains lifted my spirits, though the winding roads left me sleepy, and I must have nodded off. You might be sleepy. It sounds like you're gonna be getting places, but it might be like fighting against, you know, exhaustion. Ask away, like the video. Book a tarot reading. Book a birth chart reading. Ask me silly questions. Think harder. Absolutely, pro. What questions you should be asked? I don't know. Think about it. How should I proceed on my current project? Okay. How should Dolly proceed on her current project? How should you proceed on your current project? Catherine and I had become friends at our first meeting, but it took a while before the relationship progressed. It wasn't that I found her unattractive. Quite the opposite. I'd fantasized about her often. But I thought my interest one-sided. Then one evening, while I was babbling about nothing of consequence, she leaned over and kissed me. I think she only meant to shut me up, but I made certain the kiss didn't stop. So, you might feel a wave of inspiration, perhaps, with your project. And then you should act on it. And then when you feel the wanting to continue die, don't stop. Keep working on it. Should I lock in or have the time of my life this week? Supriya, I can tell you without looking at this, lock in this week, have the time of your life next week. But that is from the stars, not from this. So, how should Supriya do this week? Lock in or have the time of her life, their life. He'd make me laugh so much that everyone would look at me and I'd become embarrassed. So have a good time. But per the stars, lock in this week. Have fun next week. Specifically around June 9th. How is your daughter feeling? How is Story's daughter feeling? It is beautiful, Ducklister. It is by Nick Bantock. This is called The Forgetting Room. My favorite series is the Griffin and Sabine series that he did. You should really look into it, and or I can post pictures of it in our Discord. It's gorgeous. How is your daughter feeling? Okay, here we go. This one might be long story, but this is what I'm landing on. I loaded the film onto the editor and started to turn the handle. It wound sweetly as if it had been oiled yesterday. I watched the soundless, flickering images of a short, surreal, black and white movie. The 4 scenes were obviously linked, but the film felt clipped and dragged, as though frames had been bitten away from the center, depriving it of any real sense of continuity. It began with the still of the studio I was standing in, then a shot of a thin man playing chess with himself. He had a star shaved into his hair. He turned into the camera, held up the index finger of each hand, then placed them on either side of his head. The second scene was shot at night, and the same thin man was waiting by a gate. A car pulled up, the passenger door opened, he got in. The driver turned his head to face the new passenger. The driver was wearing a black bull's mask. Before the thin man could react, someone behind him placed a hood over his head and the car drove off. Oops. The thin man entered a house. He must have assumed that he was safe from pursuit because he stopped from time to time to pick up and examine some of the scattered artifacts. He was clearly looking for something in particular. He passed through a narrow bedroom where 2 monkeys slept curled together in a small bed. He turned a hallway and climbed 3 flights of stairs. Let's see how this keeps going. Yeah, I think she might be overwhelmed by something. I might be having to work through that. That's kind of how I'm reading it. What would be fun to learn about? Yeah, and I think if I remember right, Story, you said your daughter was 16, so that might be part of the problem. Is just it feels like 16. A 16-year-old's like everything is a level 10 because it's your brain rewiring when it's actually like, logically like a level 5 something, right? Like it's not as big of a deal as it seems, but it might feel like a big deal. So she might be a little bit stressed out about something. What would be fun to learn about? What would be fun for Sen to learn about? Okay. Let me see. Hang on. I'll read you what I think this is like the shadowy aspect of what you're asking me. Sen, I will ask again. Let me see. But it said, I collapsed onto the bed, realizing I'd fall asleep in my clothes if I didn't undress there, and then I stood up and stripped. I could hear noises from the outside. I half wondered what they were, but my curiosity was no match for the lure of the pillow. Don't do that. It's just very funny that that's where I stopped when you were like, what would be fun to learn about? I don't know, bed. Poetry. One night in Cafe Sara, she had just finished reading a set of her poems to an audience that divided its interest equally between her words and her legs. Read poems by beautiful women. There you go. What else? What else are we asking? I'm having fun. I like doing this. No need to tell me twice. Hell yeah, Sin. What's for supper? Been on that. Something Spanish. Or if Spanish is hard where you are because it might be something Hispanic or Latino American. Raphael, why did you leave Spain? Look up like Spanish tortillas or something. They're like quiche. Dan's climate towards me. What is Dan's climate towards story? How's Dan feeling? Her hair was quite short and her neck was long and naked. For a few seconds I couldn't stop staring. Her movements were painfully graceful. When I broke free and looked about, I realized I was far from the only one focused on her. It seemed that half the eyes in the room were pulled in her direction. I kept my gaze on the watchers, men and women compulsively drawn to her. Something was amiss. There was a strange split in the audience. Those on the left side of the room seemed to be responding differently to those on the right. When the young woman turned away, I understood. A great scar masked nearly half her face. So it sounds like you are attractive, but you might have some feelings that you might need to be working through, or something that you need to be working on, or something about yourself that you need to embrace that might be seen as an imperfection by most. What should we focus on during the channel break? More poetry by beautiful women, but let's see what we got. Spanish. That one's for me, Sen. When I'm on break, I should be focusing on Spanish because that is all that I will be using. It says, hello, can I help you? The suddenness of her appearance had startled me out of Spanish and into my best American. Yeah, like you have a lot of good about you. There's a lot of attractive about you story, but you might have something that you need to embrace about yourself. How should you dress for your trip? How should Miss May, how should Lady Lapine dress for her trip? Warmly, I assume. This one's talking about a... I see the word a forest fire, so perhaps warmly. Should I work harder for work or should I just meander? In the restaurant, I took my time with the menu, considering all the culinary possibilities, nibbling on bread and black olives. At the bottom of the page was an interesting English mistranslation. Fillet of dread crumbs. I laughed to cover up the shiver that passed down my spine. There you go, Doji. Should you work harder for work or just me? You don't want fillet of dread crumbs, or maybe you do. Light, yeah, just go ahead. I'm just doing bibliomancy. I'm not really doing tarot. This goes a lot faster. If you want to ask something, Light, fire away. This is just rapid fire. So if you have a question, if you're open to having to interpret it from a book, feel free. Oh, I'm losing hope. How can I reconnect with myself? Alright. How can Light reconnect with themselves? She looked at me very directly, weighing me up. Then she continued, My mother was an old friend of your grandmother's, and when I was a girl she brought me to visit. I was just recovering from my accident, my face was still raw. I was desperately shy and didn't want anyone looking at me. Your grandparents were wonderful. Raphael, in particular, was unbelievably kind. He gave me all his attention, made me laugh, and told me that I was always to be proud and show myself. So, Light, it sounds like you need to find a good community that will help support you through this time. So if you have friends, loved ones, somebody that you can talk it out with, if you have somebody who never fails to make you laugh, go find those people, and they will help you refine some of that joy. I really like bibliomancy, Willie. It's been fun. I've only done it a few times, but I finally found the book series that worked. Yeah, you're welcome, Light, of course. Get to feeling better and keep us posted, okay? So, anything else? We got 25 more minutes. Y'all can ask as many questions as you want. They go quick. It is not quite as difficult as tarot. What will unfold in the future between me and the nemesis? What will unfold between Story and the nemesis? Using the same brush, I retouched the door handles at the top of the center panel. A few seconds later, I saw what I'd done. I'd transformed them into a span of 4 crescent moons. It hit me like a whopping great thunderclap. The realization made me laugh out loud, and its echo set in motion a chain reaction. You will see where you have grown, you will see what it has done, and you will be able to laugh about it. Have a nemesis, I've never heard of that. You got the knack. Thank you, dear. Ducklisters, I will do my own bibliomancy as well. Ducklister, I will warn you, it might not be the first book that you think of. A lot of people use, the Bible, and that works for them. I tried, it does not work for me. I had to find a book that I really, really loved, a series that I really, really loved, to make it work. And then once I had that, then I realized I could do it. Advice from my friendship with a specific person in mind. Well, tell me about what Dolly should do with their friend. Pretty please. And on this page. Armand feels nothing. I am exasperated by the depth of his insecurity. The following morning, Catherine tells him she wants a separation. He gapes. He knows that this has been long in coming, but pretends to not understand. He considers pleading, but by the time he's run through the words in his head, they seem too premeditated, so he persists in asking why. She tries to tell him, but their conversation deteriorates into joint recriminations. He has managed to convince himself that the blame for their demise sits at her door. He has enfolded himself back into his insularity. The Armand that I've been observing will never stop blaming Catherine, but I am no longer bound by his decisions, and I don't choose to carry his burden or live with his bitterness. Blaming is futile. So, Dolly, don't let their insecurities get the better of you. If they start doing things that you don't, that's their problem, right? Don't get too involved with anything that they might not be doing great. Who understands Shakespeare? Verily not I. I do. I love Shakespeare. But yes, there's a lot of like outdated idioms and stuff that require a lot of research. Shakespeare's something that's better to be like seen, if you ask me, like the plays and stuff. Like it's better to see the plays because you can see the actions around them and get a lot of the context. And that helps. You think you're lonely as hell. Yeah, I bet you, yeah, that sounds like what you need to do, like just find your people. Good morning, Cherry. It is Lynn. It's me. Hello, hello. I am doing some bibliomancy today. So, feel free to ask questions. Oh, wow, very literal. Yeah, exactly, Dolly. All right. So, it is me, Cherry. If you have questions, they're just doing bibliomancy. You can ask anything. What would my cats want to say to me? What would Pearl's cats want to say? Get this. I reached down and touched the exposed, slightly damp earth. The sensation was remarkably pleasant. I squatted down and dug my fingers into the ground, burying them like roots. I breathed deeply, and then after a few moments my mind began emptying of anxiety. It wasn't the first occasion I'd done such a thing, but always before it had been in the open air. With the house protecting me, the act became a private meditation. So, Pearl, to me that sounds like you are their safe haven, right? It sounds like you keep them safe, and they know and appreciate that for you. Dolly, don't worry about it. I'm okay. Are you okay? That's what I'm gonna worry about is, are you okay? For context, Shakespeare play is more difficult. Yeah. Push truth, I could have been not a child. What guidance does Yggdrasil have for me? Let's see what we got. Well, Beowulf's Old English stuff, it doesn't count. That's literally not English anymore. Like, that's just, like, that is its own language in and of itself. Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil for Harry. What do we got? Yggdrasil says, for Cherry, there is a far greater range between the extremes of light and dark than there is between the white of your paper and the blackest mark you can make. Therefore, you have to trick the eye into reading the same range of difference. It is my goal in life story to become, like, absolutely fluent in Middle English. Mostly because of Chaucer, but also just because it's fun. I really, really like, just the history of the English language and, like, the Indo-European family of languages in general. But also, you might get a kick out of this. One day when I do eventually get to go to the UK, right? I want to know how to, like, talk to the ghosts in their own language. So, like, I really want to learn Middle English and be fluent in it and just go to a really old tavern and see if I can get to anybody. Because part of me, I want to test a theory. I want to test that, maybe the ghosts get older if you can actually talk to them, because everybody's like, oh, ghosts are, like, really recent and so on and so forth. I'm like, maybe they can just understand you. Peculiar, hey honey, I would love general advice from the book. Alright, peculiar life advice. Book themed. Oh, Dolly, thank you, sweetie. Let's see. Okay, here it is. When I returned to the house, this is for you, Peculiar. When I returned to the house, I spent a short while trying to figure out Raphael's game, but I was a bit drunk and I drew a total blank. So I went upstairs to have a quick look at what I'd been working on earlier in the day. Having been left to itself for a few hours, the picture looked very different. The area with the crumpled up piece of material in the bottom left corner felt wrong, and I picked up a brush to retouch it. Half an hour later, I was still tinkering. So if something is frustrating you, leave it alone for a few hours and then go back to it. That is the book advice for general advice, is let go when it's bothering you and then revisit later. How is the foster cat Sophia doing? She is confused. Sitting on a park bench facing an ivy-festooned stone wall, I examined my purchase further. There were no more engravings on the body of the book. However, there were a few loose scraps of paper, scribbled lists, and on 2 of these I discovered further pictures of candles. Why had these particular engravings been placed there? For a second, I thought the book was part of Raphael's game, and then I caught myself and was amazed at the way my imagination was running riot. I got up and let the rumbling hunger in my belly drag me off to look for food. Sophia is confused, but glad that you are feeding her. How will the Labyrinth project play out on its present trajectory? Yeah, Ducklister, Middle English is from like... when was the Battle of Hastings? I don't know. Middle English is like the English that they used from like the 1100s to the 1500s-ish. When the French took over England at the Battle of Hastings, they tried to squish out English as it was, and that is why English has so many French borrowed words. But at the time, during Middle English, they were still sorting out between all of the French influence and the actual Germanic language itself, and it is very, very different. The thing to note with Middle English in particular is that when you read the spelling, because it wasn't standardized yet, it's very weird looking and kind of hard to read. And then you listen to it being said, and unless the words are like words that we don't use anymore, generally speaking, you can understand it. It just sounds like there's a bit of a silly accent. Okay, Narrator is a mess, I relate. Yeah, the narrator's always a mess for a Nick Van Talk book. How will the Labyrinth project play out? Let's see. It seems to me he has always been undermined by her clarity and conviction. He thinks that if he bends even slightly into her world, he will lose all of his bearings, but he is not utterly devoid of insight because he knows that it is perverse to need her when she isn't there. You might have to make some adjustments to your original vision story, but I think it will be fine. You just might have to be willing to compromise. Oh, we'll see you later, Peculiar. Good to see you. I can't wait to have a video chat soon. Did I catch up on all of the... Did I catch up on all of the questions? Am I all caught up? What else have we got? I'll keep asking. I'll keep answering. In the meantime, book a reading if you need to with Miss May. The link is the Ko-fi. I don't know if we have a pinned thing, but we have a Ko-fi channel that's pinned everywhere on our stuff. So find the Ko-fi channel, or the Ko-fi link. Drop a tip if you can. Book a reading. That's in the commissions tab. I can do star charts. I come on Sundays to talk about astrology. We will be out of town next week. What else do I need to talk about? Yeah, next weekend we are out of town. We'll be gone from the 4th to the 8th. I think we're going to take the 3rd off too, so we will start back our usual schedule on the 9th. On the 10th, for those of you who go to tarot readings, I want to warn you again. We are going to be switching to a random model. And what that means is that for the free questions, we will have them randomized to be answered. If you want to get your question absolutely certain to be guaranteeably answered, you will have to tip. But this way it gives the people who can't come on until later a chance to have their questions answered too. What kind of changes? It just sounds like that was the same page that had the divorce. It sounds like the kinds of changes that you know that you might already, if I'm thinking about that page in particular, you might already have some kind of idea on things that you might need to compromise, or they will like give you hints ahead of time, right? So just things to be aware of, things that like it's the loud truth versus the quiet truth. There might be something that you know might need tweaking now, or it might be something that you find out a little bit later as you keep progressing. Just a compromise. It doesn't sound like it'll end poorly, right? As long as you like don't act like a man who's been ignoring his wife, right? Don't do that. But like if you're willing to compromise and stuff, it usually can be worked out, right? How is my family gonna take me not going to the memorial? Oh, we got a thing on this page. But yeah, Ducklister, see, like, in my other books, he has stuff like this that just kind of pop out of the book. And it's always gorgeous. They're gonna have mixed feelings. Raphael's attitude to art was one of serious play. His work was partly surreal, though it never properly fit into that category. It never really fit into any category. He used whatever material or mode he took to his liking. So, some mixed feelings. Not really discernible, but, you know, mixed feelings. Yeah, I love this series so much, Duck. It's so good. Alright, gang, we got 10 minutes left. Let's go. Way too late for me to start any pictures, so. They can be silly. They can be fun. They can be... I don't care. Don't forget to like the video. Tell your friends about us. Share the link. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers on YouTube. And then we will start unlocking membership stuff. If you can, I would not mind a silly message. I want to speak to the book, too. Okay. What silly message do we have for our dear Duck? Spread that lupine. Yeah, spread the lapine virus. I put the book down and watched the soccer-mad children weaving in and out of the people crossing square. The tourists cutting the corners. The locals plowing through the heart of the makeshift playing field. Time passed. I glanced down and saw that somebody had left a scuffed matchbox on the table. The picture on the front mimicked the scene in the square. I like that kind of coincidence. It gave me a reassuring notion that there was a grand order to things, and it was sort of liberating. I had the embarrassing urge to rush out into the melee and hog the ball. Your silly message, Duck, is go play. How will the honey be with the new... How will the honey with the new labels be received? For story. Yeah, so your silly message, Duck, is go play. Marianne was whispering in Raphael's ear, and the Andalusian girls flowers in their hair, and I said, yes, yes. And then my eyes also fell onto I would like that very much story. So, sounds good. Spirit message for Miss May. My darling Miss May. What do we got? Spirit message for Miss May. That exchange seemed to signify the beginning of an understanding between us, as we talked comfortably from then on. She was happy to be able to air her memories of Raphael, and I, in turn, found myself speaking about the disappointment I felt with myself at not having come to see my grandfather when my grandmother died. By then, I was seeing the scar as an integral part of her features. I noticed that she asked and answered questions openly with equal interest, and it was very refreshing. I'm going to start my health journey on Monday. Is it going to last at least a week? Yes, and I can tell you that already. If you stick with it and you use that Sun-Saturn sextile, do it. But let's see what it says. Alright, Sin. I stayed a little longer for politeness' sake, and then around 10:30 I arose and said I'd better go. I thanked them profusely for their hospitality and bid them good night. As I was leaving, Paolo said, I have something for you from your grandfather. He went back into the living room and returned with a flat cardboard case about 9 inches by 10 inches, which he passed over to me. On the outside of the mottled case was the letter A, painted in the unusual way that Raphael had always reserved exclusively for me. So what that sounds like to me is you are going to have a trial, and then you might have to modify your health journey to better fit you, but once you find that, it will work out fine. Can I have advice on my friendships from Pearl? I don't know if the book about a divorce is the best place to look, but let's see what we got. We are describing a house. Let me see. Advice on your friendships. The overall effect of the place was of the soft, unfussy care and attention I associated with my grandmother. I concluded that Raphael had kept it to her taste, even when he had been left behind to look after it on his own. So take care of your people. Take care of your people. No, Pearl, it's fine. I was joking. Like there is a divorce that happens in here. But, like, no, it's fine. It's not, the book is not entirely about divorce. You're fine. So yeah, take care of your people. Remember how they like things, right? If you give them that little sweet gesture, right? Like, for instance, it doesn't come up very often, but I'm not super duper keen on pasta salad. Like, it's just not my favorite thing. I'll eat it, but it's not, I just don't like it much. And I think I said that a grand total of once to my mother-in-law in all of the 12 years that I've known her, and she remembers that to this day. Like, just remember, like, the small things about your friends. Remember how they like their things, and then if you, like, have the opportunity, show them that you remember, and it's really, really appreciated. Divorce arc skipped, absolutely. You're all good, Nick. It's a good next couple of weeks. I will put the notes up. But for speaking for you, mark around June 9th. That is one of the luckiest days of the year. I'm doing bibliomancy again, Nick, though, if you have any questions. Or, slave name is good enough. What's on top? We can play our game. In the meantime, while Nick is making his uncannily good, does pasta salad taste better when eaten in a Lambo? I'm sure most things taste. I would probably eat a mushroom in a Lamborghini story, and I don't like mushrooms. But you really gotta tell all your well-to-do friends about our stuff before we get to even considering me buying a Lambo. I need a house first. I need that June 9th luck to like really pay up. It is in my house of finances, so like fingers crossed for me, but we'll see. Have you an actual Bible for bibliomancy? I do. Do I have one? It's in my suitcase that's still in Seattle, I think. Ace of Swords. King of Cups, it's a one of things. Let's see. Maybe it's on the second one. We've got a one, so like it's the king, but there's still only one cup, and then swords down here. So not quite on the money this time. Or let me check the bottom. Hang on. Nah. Not quite, but I would say this is a one and a sword, so good enough today. Like, in all honesty though, if I like had my own way with my cars and stuff of choices, I just want my Mustang back. I don't regret it, but I miss him very, very badly every day. But we got a couple more minutes left. What do you want to ask? Nick, you haven't gotten a question yet. Do you want to ask the book anything? I'm not asking, I'm just shuffling the tarot cards. Maybe the cats will tell me what the vibe is for this week. I can do like that kind of read. But I'm not nearly as good at it as May. But they like me fine. Oh. Going on an adventure. We are going on the adventure. We need to get together. That's fair. All fair. Everybody liked the video? Everybody tipped your server who can? What advice do you want to give, Book? What advice do you want to give to Nick? Let's go. Let's go! I looked at the painting. I thought about the story. What was at its center? The djinn refusing to give the child up. How was the child returned? By the mother's wisdom and the father's persistence. I'd persisted, but what was the wisdom? I looked at the picture again. The moons formed the arches of the invisible bridge. The invisible bridge. Was there an invisible bridge in the room? I madly looked through the shelves, cupboards, and cabinets. Nothing made me think of a bridge. Back to the story. The answer had to be in the solution. Where had Lindaraxa found the solution? In a wooden bucket. I glanced over at the corner of the room. Raphael's trash bin was a wooden bucket. I walked slowly over to it. It was empty, apart from the paper lining at the bottom. I pulled out the paper, turned it over, and read. So the advice is to look in places that you do not expect an answer to be, and you will find your answer. If there is something that you are wondering. So. Alright, last call. We're at time. Tip servers. Buy private readings with Miss May. You can buy astrology readings from me. We will be back tomorrow. First on the art channel for Miss May to work on one of her projects, and then in the evening for our Monday evening tarot stream. 30 free questions. This will be the last one that is first come, first serve for free questions. After that, when we get back on the 10th for tarot, we will switch over to the random model so that I don't have to keep up with Q anymore, except for the paid readings. If, when we switch to the random model, you want to be absolutely sure you get a question answered, I cannot emphasize this enough. It will cost you $1. Okay? But that will be the 10th. Tomorrow will be the last day that I have to keep up with a Q. Hooray. I will close up if no one else has any more questions for me. I mean, a wooden bin, you can recycle it. And it can biodegrade. It can do both. You're still having a morning. Go get your coffee, Nick. Don't worry about me. Go get your coffee. I will let everybody go. holler if you need me. You will find me in chat on our Discord, or you will find me as the primary mod available in most of our live streams. May will be back tomorrow, first in the afternoon for art on the art channel. Let me keep shilling. And then again in the evening for our tarot stream. Oh, Anne, okay. Anne, last one. You caught it just in time. I'm doing bibliomancy. I am Lynn. I am the little mod that hangs out all the time. Will I get an unexpected answer in approximately 3 weeks? Anne says... Anne is asking. Let's see what she finds out. I worked rapidly, scratching, pushing, and rubbing the charcoal, filling the paper with black. In half an hour, I'd finished and was on my way back to the house. The compulsion to make the drawing had been irresistible, and once it was done, I felt relief. Relief turned into excitement, and by the time I reached the house, I was positively frantic with energy. So it sounds like an unexpected answer in the good way, Anne. So, y'all take care of yourselves. I'll be around. Holler if you need me. And bye for now. Ciao, ciao.